All right, good afternoon, my dear viewers. How are you guys doing today? I believe you all are doing great wherever you are. So, my people, today I want to speak on the subject that has been trending on social media for about 2 days now. No, it's about the gruesome murder of a young man, Ogenemine, by the Nigerian police officer, Delta Police Command in particular. So I want to speak about it and how it relates to the rising insecurity in Delta State. That is what I want to talk about today. So first of all, before I get into this issue properly, let me say this, or let me send this message directly to the governor of Delta State, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborevwori. We all know that the insecurity in the state is caused by a particular ethnic group, which is the Shekiri ethnic group. So if you fail to address that insecurity perpetrated by the Shekiris, you end up opening more avenues for criminals to operate. You end up opening more avenues, because if the DSS could arrest a culprit and then release that culprit to walk around freely, somebody who was caught red-handedly with guns, AK-47s, grenade and the rest, was allowed to go scot-free. If the DSS could do that, if the Delta State government could do that, that means there is nothing the security in this state cannot do. There is nothing. You are even emboldening other people who are into these illegalities. You are giving them courage, because when some people sees others being apprehended and released on bail or on whatever condition, they will feel like, okay, if we do this thing also, it will lead to our bail and results. So they will all look at committing this crime. So, Your Excellency, your inability, or will I say your negligence in addressing the rising insecurity in Warri and Delta State in general is what has given criminal elements in the state more courage to carry out their criminal activities. Now today we are all talking about the young man that was murdered by the police. Yes, I condemn the act, and I have salient questions I would like to ask the Nigerian Police Force, Delta State Command. I have questions I want to ask. But then, before I do that, let me also inform my public on this issue. Before now, a particular fake military major, in the person of Major Mike Apollo, and his Shekiri man, and his syndicates, people like Collins Edema and their other boys, were caught red-handedly by the DSS in Asaba, smuggling guns into Delta State. Guns that were meant to be brought to Warri to kill the just and robbers of Warri Federal Constituency. They were caught red-handed by the DSS. This is not even a hearsay. The DSS caught them red-handed. And when the information came out, they revealed that the Olu of Shekiri, Shola Emiko, was the one who sponsored that smuggling, who purchased those guns and asked them to smuggle them into Delta State. That security threat has been there, and we have been shouting about it, but the government has not done anything about it. From the day these persons were apprehended, we started shouting for the government to do what is expected of them. The security of life and property is the primary prerogative of every government. But Sheriff Oborevwori's administration has made us believe that security of our properties and our lives is our own responsibility and not the government's responsibility. These people were smuggling guns into Delta State. And Mr. Governor, you allowed them to walk around free. If we are in a civilized society, Mike Apollo should be in jail by now. The Olu of Shekiri, Shola Emiko, should be in jail by now. Collins Edema should be in jail, and all other their syndicates should be in jail by now, and not to walk around free. not walk around free. There are criminal elements in this state that the government's inability to address this rising insecurity has given more courage to operate. If we look at the case of Liberty, he was a chronic criminal element, a kidnapper, a rapist, and so many evil characters that he portrayed, and a Shekiri boy. That also has emboldened others because they were allowed to excel in the states. But thank God for the Nigerian police that apprehended him, and he ended up being killed by his own boys. So if we discover every criminal element, we must deal with them decisively. Your Excellency, you must deal with them decisively. Do not condone any criminal excesses. Don't condone it. What is bad is bad. We're talking about this young man, Mine, that was killed by the police. Nobody's talking about the Olu of Shekiri, Shola Emiko, and Kolise Dema that were caught red-handed. Red-handed with guns, AK-47, pump action, grenade, and thousands of ammunition. Nobody's talking about them. Nobody's talking about them. When Kolise Dema, Mike Apollo was detained alongside others, his syndicate were detained. The DSS released him on bail. Without proper scrutiny, without prosecuting him, he was released on bail. On what ground did the DSS release him? That is the question. On what ground was he released? A man that was caught red-handed with guns, you release him. Why will you release such a man? And a man that has confessed that the Olu of Shekiri is the sponsor of those guns, is the one who purchased those guns. Why will you allow the Olu of Shekiri to continue to sit on his throne when he should be in jail by now? He should be in jail by now. So, Your Excellency, all of these things, I will attribute them to your inability to handle the security issues in the states. Yes. Now, we are not only having criminal elements in the society, we are also having them in our security apparatus, in our security circles. Look at what these policemen did. These ones cannot tell me that they are legitimate policemen, because no legitimate policeman will wear such mufti and attack a civilian. No legitimate policeman will do that. None. Especially when that civilian is a suspect. You find out, you investigate and see where the problem is coming from. Then you apprehend whoever that is connected to that scene or that crime, and not to murder the suspect. Delta State, there are a lot we need to put in order. A lot we need to put in order, Your Excellency. There are a lot we need to put in order, because if you take maybe let's say if you take the case of Warri as example, there are Ijaw boys that are being murdered by the Shekiris. The Shekiris burnt down Apata community in Baramatu Kingdom. They kidnapped several Ijaw men and women who went fishing at Daode Shekiri River. They attacked the robbers of Warri Federal Constituency. They killed this boy from this man from Odion Robo, Jerry Adwara, and they were proud. They were boasting with it. They were boasting with it, and the Delta State government did nothing. Your Excellency, your administration did nothing. The culprits, the people who killed Jerry Adwara, are still walking free. They are still walking free. So tell me why other criminal elements will not have the courage to continue with their acts. When Mike Apollo and the Olu of Shekiri are still allowed to walk freely, why will other criminal elements not have the courage to operate? Why? Like I said, if it were civilized countries, the Olu of Shekiri should have been deposed, sent to prison by now. Sent to prison. Mike Apollo should be in prison. We know how they try to sweep the case under the carpet. If not for the fact that myself and a few others, good Deltans, patriotic Deltans, called out. If not that we called out, that case would have been swept under the carpet. They illegally transferred the case from Federal High Court here in Asaba to Federal High Court in Port Harcourt so that they can sweep it under the carpet. But because of our outcry, they could not do that. And even as we speak, Mike Apollo is walking freely. The Olu of Itsekiri, Shola Emiko, is walking freely and seated on his throne. Collins Edema is walking freely. And all other syndicates, they are all walking freely when they should be in jail. So, Your Excellency, this whole thing lies in your hands. It lies in your hands. It is a fact that we have criminal elements in the police force, and this criminal element must be brought to book. But then, it is your ability to checkmate these excesses that will give Delta State a safe environment, that will give Deltans a safe environment to live. So, ability to handle these issues. So, Your Excellency, you need a lot of work. You have a lot of work to do, especially in the security aspect. Look at the cases of herdsmen attack in Bomandi and other robo communities. Look at the way herdsmen have been attacking the Jaws and the robos, killing people in their own farms. Your Excellency, I have not seen any drastic action taken by your government. Any drastic action. Now, a northerner who call himself a policeman has come to kill an innocent Deltan. An innocent boy. I'll call him innocent because the boy explained himself that whatever that was found in his possession does not belong to him. He explained himself that that gun did not belong to him. That his friends sent him, deceived him. And yet, the policeman killed him. Himself and his colleagues. They murdered that boy in cold blood. They murdered him. So all of these things that we are talking about is not because we hate the state government or we hate the Itsekiri ethnic group in particular. We are only calling for a sane society. We are only calling for safety. We are only calling for security in Delta State. That is what we are calling for. We are not asking for too much from the government. Like I said, the primary prerogative of every government is to protect lives and properties of the citizens. So when the government fails to protect the lives and properties of the citizens, that government has already failed. That government has already failed. There is no way that government will be talked about in a positive light. And Your Excellency, with the way you are going, you are closely you are drawing very close to an administration that will be regarded as one which would have carried out justice but ignored justice. You are drawing close to that end. You are drawing close to that end. You don't have to be complicit as a governor of the state. If anybody is found wanting, apprehend that person, prosecute that person and send the person to prison. And not to allow them or give some sort of immunity. Because people like the Olu of Itsekiri is not supposed to have any immunity. No crown is above the law. The supremacy of the law oversees and supersedes all crowns, all positions, either elected or non-elected. The supremacy of the law. So if you are a king and you are caught in an act, an illegal and a criminal act, you should face the law. And this is not the first time. There are other kings in Delta State that were found wanting in one way or the other. They were sent to prison. Why must it be the Olu of Itsekiri's case that is different? Why? Why? Now, aside this issue, let me now delve into the murder of that young man, Ogenemine, properly. Now, if you look at it, the policemen have a lot of questions to answer. But let me just take it from the point of transporting that way bill, if it was ever transported. The young man was saying that his friend asked him to pick up a way bill in Warri, particularly in Ekpa axis, to pick up a way bill. He did not know the content of that way bill. Now, where did that way bill come from? Because he said that his friend sent him from Sapele to pick up that way bill in Warri. Now, where did that way bill come from? Did it come from Asaba, Ole, or any other part of Delta State? Where? Where were they transporting that waybill from? Where? And when you look at another aspect of it, the so-called attendants at the garage who apprehended the young man and eventually called the police to murder that boy, they also have questions to answer. They also have questions to answer. How did they know that what was contained in that waybill was a gun? How? Because it is a norm in every car garage or car transportation company that waybills are not to be opened. Waybills are not to be exposed. They are not to be exposed. If there should be any exposure, it should be at the point of handing that waybill to the transport company. When somebody brings a waybill to you, you have the prerogative to either check what is inside, then you transport it. But for you to tell me that a waybill was successfully transported through your transport company to a place only for you to find out that it contained a gun and then murdered an innocent young man, shows that even you are an accomplice. Yes. You are an accomplice. You are an accomplice. Now, if we look at this issue critically, the people who signed that waybill in the transport location or wherever the transport came from, the people who signed that waybill should be brought to book too. Yeah. They should answer that question too. Because, like I said, the waybill was transported from somewhere to Warri. It was transported from somewhere to Warri. Now, who signed that waybill? Who received that waybill from the place it was transported to, Ekpa? Yeah. Who signed that waybill? These are questions that we should be asking. Because these transporters and the culprits and the policemen, they are all working in synergy. They are working together. They are working together. And if you look at it, pistol is not a regular gun for even criminals. You don't see criminals brandishing pistol always. You see them with AK-47s and pump actions and the rest. But for a criminal or for pistol to be in possession of a civilian, it means that the security is involved. The security must be involved. And that policeman murdering that young man shows that he himself and his gang are part of the plot. They are part of the plot. Because no sane policeman will murder a suspect, especially when the suspect is saying that he will take you to the scene, he will take you to the person who sent him, who owns that gun. You are not supposed to murder him. So even that policeman, now things in the cover up. He have a lot and need to cover up all of these criminal activities. He's a northerner. I'm very, very confident that he's one of the people that have been contributing to the murder of Deltans by the herdsmen. He's one of the people contributing to it. Who knows if he's part of the people that are sponsoring these herdsmen guns and criminal elements in the state to perpetrate their act and then receive his own percentage from whatever criminal proceed they make. Who knows? Who knows? So, Your Excellency, these are salient issues that you must address. You must address. No culprit, no syndicate of that crime should be allowed to go free. None of them should be allowed. You should bring all of them to book. The person who received that waybill from the transport company, from wherever location it was transported from, and the people who also unpacked that waybill, unboxed that waybill at the location of the transport company here in Ekpa, they should also be brought to answer questions. They should be brought to answer questions. Because, for instance, if I go to a transport company and I want to send a waybill, the transport company will virtually look at what is in that waybill. They will look at the content of it. If it's something that is prohibited, they will refuse it. They will refuse it. But if it's something legal, they will transport it. So for you to have seen that gun and then transport it means that you are an accomplice. You know what is happening. And the young man was pleading. He was not even pleading guilty. He did not say the gun belonged to him. He said it belongs to his friend who sent him to pick it up. And he did not even know that the content of that waybill was a gun. He didn't even know that the content of that waybill was a gun. He only came to help his friend pick up a way bill, not knowing that that was going to lead to his own end. He did not plead guilty, and he was even offering to take the policeman to the location of his friend who actually owned the gun, who actually sent him on that errand. But you know, Nigerian police, I will not even generalize it to Nigerian police. There are some good policemen in the country, but people like this new, whatever he call himself, these are the elements that the Nigerian police force must eradicate from the force, must push them out, because they are tarnishing the image of the Nigerian police force. That is what they are doing. They are tarnishing the good image of the Nigerian police force, especially here in Delta State. When you look at the killing of Gerald Dwara in Odion Robo community, the policemen were there standing with the Shekiri boys that murdered Gerald Dwara in cold blood. Police was there at the scene. Police who escorted the Shekiris to Odion Robo community to carry out that massacre, that attack, were there at the scene when Gerald Dwara was murdered in cold blood. And if you look at the incident at MPA, how the Shekiris attacked the jaws of MPA, the police force was there, literally there, escorting the Shekiris to attack the jaws of MPA, to remove the coronation banners of the Pere Amankoso of Old Bijo Warri Kingdom. The police was there. The Warri South local government chairman ordered the police to accompany them, to accompany his people to remove the coronation banners of a king in his own local government. Police was there. So the police have been aiding these Shekiris to perpetrate evil in Delta State, particularly in Warri, for a long time. These criminal elements in the Nigerian police force, in Delta State Command, has been aiding the Shekiris to perpetrate their criminal activities in Delta State. They have been doing that. And when you look at the DSS that released Mike Apollo, you also relate it to this incident that happened. The officers who released Mike Apollo on bail or on whatever condition should be brought to answer questions also. On what ground did they release him? Because a suspect is not supposed to be released on bail until he is tried in court. So for you to release a suspect, somebody that was caught red-handed with illegal items, for you to release him on bail without trying him, shows that even you are an accomplice. So the DSS should even come to answer those questions. And I feel say we don't forget that matter. Say Olu of Shekiri matter don't go. Now lie you. All of this one they contribute to waiting they cause this insecurity for Delta State. When Liberty was killing innocent people, Shekiris were defending him. Because now their boy, now then they send out the pie jaws and robots secretly. But when his own people buy him, they come outside, they shout for justice for Liberty. Which justice for Liberty? A known criminal, a known rapist, kidnapper, murderer. They sent him to kill Ijos and Robos. That was what he was doing. But thank God that he met his end in the hands of his own boys. So, Your Excellency and the Delta State Police Command, you need to act. You need to bring every single person that is connected in one way or the other to this case. Bring them to book. They must all answer questions. They must all answer questions. Why were those policemen on Mufti, who dispatched those policemen from the location or the station they left, especially from that Ekpan area command, who dispatched them, who led them, who sent them out on that mission, and who allowed them to go for a mission on Mufti? Who allowed them to go for a mission on Mufti? Are they going for an undercover operation? It wasn't an undercover operation. According to the story, the young man was apprehended by the transport workers at the garage, and they called the security, the policemen, to come. So it was not an undercover case. It wasn't an undercover case. So the policemen and the police leadership of Ekpan area command should also be brought to answer questions, because they cannot tell us that the DPO or whoever that is command, or Ekpa police command, the commander was not aware that such an operation was carried out or was authorized. You can't say that. They all must answer questions. They must answer questions. And this is not the first time the police are killing innocent people in Delta State. Few weeks ago or months, a young man was killed by the police too. He was chased by the police. He jumped into the creek, a lake, and then the police picked up stones to stone that boy to death. That case is still hanging. We never touched that one finish. We now can't bring another one again. Police that is supposed to be protecting our lives are now killing us, and the Delta State government is quiet. Your Excellency, your administration is quiet over it, and you come to us to vote for you in 2027. On what ground are we going to vote for you? That you allow the security apparatus in the state to murder innocent Deltas in cold blood? Is that what we take as a yardstick to vote you into power come 2027? Is that the yardstick? Your Excellency, this is beyond politics. Before you play politics, you must tackle the security challenges in the state. You must tackle it. There are a lot of resources that was contributed to stabilize security in Delta State. Look at the personal contribution of High Chief Dr. Government Owezide Ekpempolo, aka Tompolo, who contributed a whooping 10 billion naira to the security architecture to improve the security architecture of Delta State, to avoid or to prevent such elements, to prevent such activities. What did the government do with that money? What did the government do? What did government do with that money? To the point that criminal elements are still transporting guns within the state. Taking bribes. And who in particular will decide to transport that way bill? The driver of the vehicle should be called to answer question as well, because he also might have something to say. He also might know what is happening. That is why every I's must be dotted and every T's concerning this case must be crossed. Nobody should be allowed to go free. The Ekpa area commander should be brought to answer questions. The DPO or whoever that dispatched those crew should be brought to answer questions. The transport company operative should be brought to answer questions. The person who received the way bill at the point where it was transported from should be brought to answer questions. And the people who unboxed the way bill at this location here in Warri should be brought to answer questions. They should be brought to answer questions. When they transported theirs, they didn't transport it through a way bill. They smuggled it through a legal means. And I know that that was not the first time. I have said it before, that they have succeeded in transporting a lot of guns, smuggling a lot of guns into Warri, with which they are now killing themselves at Ogidigbe and Ugborodo. And
one lawyer posted on the comments now. Say even those people, even the officers, the ones who did that high rank, need to answer questions.
They all need to answer questions.
If you carry these guys and go now, those people themselves, they don't go court. Like you mean by me, now the point where themselves are not even touch everywhere.
Because these people, these police people when killed that boy, so now something that they hide. Now something then they hide. They know wetin dey happen with that person, that friend when send that boy. That person when send that boy, they get connection with that person.
They get a gang.
They no fit tell us say they don't know. They just come there a suspect as a policeman. You just kill am. They know wetin dey happen. They wanted to cover up their criminal act, and that friend deliberately set up that boy.
Of course.
I don't know what led to that act. But I'm very, very confident that that boy was set up. He was set up, and the policemen who murdered that young man were already pre-informed before the way bill was transported to Ekpa here. They were pre-informed. That was why when they called, the transport company operative called, they immediately showed up. and the transport operators, they also were pre-informed about that way bill. They were pre-informed about the way bill, that such a way bill was coming, and then so and so person will come to pick it up, but then when he comes, apprehend him, then send the policeman to come and arrest him or kill him. That was the order given.
Not to arrest. Kill.
That was the order given. They did not come there to arrest the young man, and especially the young man did not admit that he owned that gun. He did not admit. So what far from here? So what we expected from the Delta State Police Command was to trace the owner of that boy through that, owner of that gun through that boy. That is friend that he said sent him on that errand. Sapele is not far from Warri here. So it won't take even an hour before the policemen will drive down to Sapele to apprehend whoever sent that boy. The boy was even explaining it, that he was sent on an errand. He did not know that the weapon contained a gun. Now, he will take you people to the person who sent him. He was making all of this plea, but the policeman refused. The policeman refused. They refused. Now, if you relate this also again to the Liberty case, when Liberty was apprehended for criminal activities, he was taken by the police to the location where. So, if you relate this whole thing to the Liberty case, Liberty was apprehended by the police, and then he was taken to the location where he hid his guns and different arms with which he has been killing Deltans, innocent Deltans. It was in that scene he was murdered by his own people. He was murdered by his own people. Because that is what we expect ordinarily from police. When you find that a crime has been committed, when you find a suspect, you use that suspect to catch all the syndicate, to attract everybody that is connected to that crime. That is what the police is supposed to do. Excuse me guys, I'm coming, Let me immediately do this.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So guys, these police people, they're not supposed to allow them go. They're not supposed to be allowed. What happened to investigation? What happened to investigation? The police should have conducted an investigation before making a decision. A suspect was caught. He even offered to take you to whoever sent him, and you did not even bother to do that. Rather, you killed the suspect to cover up the story, to cover up the lie, because the policemen are in one way or the other. The policemen were connected to that crime. That was why they did not take the boy for an investigation or to arrest the person who sent him. They murdered the boy because they were also part of that deal. So my question to the Delta State government is, what have you been doing that the security state in Delta State will be deteriorating to this point? What have you been doing? Why is our security system still poor? So that is my question. My question to the Delta State government is, what have you been doing, Your Excellency, that criminal elements will successfully carry out their operations in Delta State to the point whereby they now transport guns through waybills, through legitimate and registered transport companies? You can imagine. What have you been doing? Huge amount of money was contributed by good and patriotic citizens of this country, particularly in Delta State, for the security architecture, to improve security, but we are not seeing anything. Now it is not like before. Now it was criminals killing innocent people, and now it has gotten to the turn of police. Not just criminals are killing innocent people, but the policemen, the bad heads in the police force, are also aiding them, killing the innocent people in the states. So, Your Excellency, you have a lot of work to do. This insecurity can cost you your re-election come 2027. The rising insecurity in Delta State, I'm saying it can cost you because Deltas will not have confidence in you anymore. If you allow this kind of criminal activities to excel, to triumph in the state, they will not have confidence. They will not trust in you that you can protect their lives and their properties. Because how can you be a governor of the state and you are the chief security officer of the state, and all of these activities, criminal activities, are still happening, are still taking place? You need to act, Your Excellency. You cannot say you are the chief security officer of the state and all of these activities are happening under your watch. These criminal acts are happening under your watch. So for me,